Canadian country singer Paul Brandt here. I've been listening with my wife and 2 kids, and we want to say thank you for all you're doing in defense of civil liberties and freedom. You're inspiring the world, and we're standing with you.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need political change, but we also need the resolve to resist. Hey, didn't you love that clip at the very beginning? That picture, the truck going through, that has been really going viral all over social media today. And I think it just depicts the collapse of the Liberal Party and the Trudeau government. It's been day 7 of the Freedom Trial. I'm calling it the Freedom Trial, the Tamara Lich, Chris Barber trial here in Ottawa at the Ottawa Provincial Courthouse. It has been getting not a lot of attention so far, and the last few days have been kind of boring. But that's because the prosecution is trying to bore people to death. But you know, the funny thing is, everything that they're showing, all of the videos of news conferences and various social media appearances by Tamara Lich and Chris Barber all point towards the protest being peaceful. I can't tell you how many times I've heard both of these people not only encourage but demand that the protesters be non-violent, that they accommodate the public, that they not do things that are going to disturb or bother residents of Ottawa, that they cooperate and obey the police. Heard that timeless throughout the week. It's quite clear. The video has been absolutely fascinating. And you know what? As we're sitting there listening to this, as the trial continues, we're on day 7. It just concluded. I just came back from it. What's happening in London, Ontario this week? The Liberal caucus is meeting. Now, what we know that they've already talked about and they're raising concern about is housing, affordable housing in Canada, which is virtually non-existent. Try to rent an apartment in any major Canadian city. And I tell you, it's at least 150%, 200% higher than an average mortgage. It is virtually impossible to rent a 1-room apartment. Here in Ottawa and Vancouver, Calgary, all Canadian major cities. So yes, they're talking about affordable housing. They're also talking about the fact that Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, is certainly gaining in popularity, and his party is eclipsing the Liberal Party and the NDP. Poilievre is rising in the polls, and that's scaring a lot of Liberals. So are they confronting Justin Trudeau about his leadership? He was late for this caucus meeting, this retreat. They're always retreating, aren't they? First of all, the cabinet retreated to Charlottetown, PEI. And that was really a completely ineffectual and ineffective get-together. Now they're retreating to London, Ontario, and what's happening? Are they challenging Trudeau's leadership? Maybe a bit. But I want to know, are they asking questions about why are we embarrassing Canada with this trial of 2 peaceful protesters? Why are they putting so much time, effort, and money into a trial that initially started as a 16-day affair, which is about 15 days too long, and has already expanded beyond 20 days, and I predict is going to go into mid to late November because of the minutia that has been introduced by the prosecution. Everything is being introduced. And it's become not just about 2 people, it's become the entire Freedom Convoy is on trial. And I would argue your freedom of expression, your freedom to protest, our freedom is on trial. And that's why I call it the Freedom Trial. Now, I went to the Freedom Convoy protest 2022 to find out what happened. I was there during those frigid days into the night. And I say it again, I never saw the streets cleaner in Ottawa. These people looked after their messes. If they created any, they cleaned them up. They shoveled snow around monuments. They didn't desecrate them, they shoveled snow around them. And they behaved better than any other protesters I've ever seen in Ottawa. They did not come to destroy, they came to instruct and educate. I talked to a woman today. She's been sitting beside me in the courtroom, and we share a military background. I won't be more specific than that. But she was telling me about what got her interested in this trial. And it was because she went to see what was really happening in January, February 2022, when the Freedom Convoy was in town. She was watching the mainstream media like CBC. She got one story there. She was at that time watching independent media, and she was getting a completely different story. And she said, I'm going to go there myself and find out what's going on. I'm going to go there and talk to people and see who's telling the truth, the mainstream media or independent media. So she went downtown Ottawa and she started talking to people and saying, what are you doing here? Why are you here? What's this all about? And is there any violence going on? Are you bothering people? Are you upsetting people? Are you making messes? Are you stealing food from the local Good Shepherds of Hope? And she found out that was not true. She found out the independent media were telling the truth. Now, I really want to thank her for telling me that story, because it reminded me of so many people. They decided to find out for themselves. And that's exactly what she did. She came to Ottawa to find out for herself. And I did too. I wanted to find out by talking to people and not staying in a bunker in February because it was too cold to go outside, and just talking to a bunch of people who agreed on the same assumption that this was somehow an occupation of Ottawa by a bunch of dangerous fringe people. I didn't buy that story, so I went out and talked to people myself, and I found out these were just ordinary Canadians, truckers, protesters who supported them, people who didn't agree with the mandatory vaccine and the other mandates that came along with COVID-19, and that Justin Trudeau was pushing down people's throats. They didn't agree with that. And that's why they came to Ottawa. And that's why they protested. So this has been an interesting week so far. I'm back at the trial tomorrow. There's supposed to be some more action, some more activity, some questioning, some cross-examination. We might even see the first witnesses appear. And believe me, this will be interesting to hear some of this testimony. I'm looking forward to that. I want to thank Daisy Media, who's been there on many occasions to get some great footage. We've used that. We used that last Friday. I've been trying to get pictures. It's difficult to get pictures. You can only take pictures when the people leave the courtroom, the courthouse. They've got to be on the street, and sometimes they don't linger. So it's difficult to get pictures that are different. We've got a couple we're going to use in this segment I got yesterday, but I've been talking to everybody, and I tell you, this trial is very interesting. And I'm going to make another prediction. I think the defense is going to win this. I think they have a strategy that is winning. They have a winning strategy. They understand what they need to do to win. I don't think the prosecution has a clue what it's doing, except to run a PR exercise. And even that seems to be going terribly wrong for them. So, want to encourage you again, subscribe, become a member of the station, support us financially, ring that bell so you can continue to receive these broadcasts so we can beat Trudeau's censorship. More about that in the coming weeks, because there's worse coming. There's more censorship coming. It's going to get worse, not better, in this fall session. That's why we have to work against Justin Trudeau. We have to resolve to resist And I welcome your financial support. And I welcome your interest and your continued viewing of these broadcasts. Let's push those numbers up. Let's keep going. I've met so many of you at the trial this week who watch these broadcasts, who are following what I'm doing. Thank you for coming up to me and shaking my hand and saying, thank you, David, for the work you're doing. And thank you that you don't put any politician on a pedestal. Thank you for remembering they're supposed to be working for us and not us for them. I never forget that. Thanks for watching today. We'll be back tomorrow with another broadcast of Stand on Guard, and I'll give you an update on what's happening with this trial. Exciting times for Canada, and we could see victory, not just for Tamara and Chris, but for freedom in Canada. Thanks again for watching. I know how Ottawa works, and I know how corrupt federal government can be. But you can play a part in opposing Justin Trudeau's government and Justin Trudeau's plans for Canada. You can become a part of the Krayden's Right resistance. Now, I urge you today, please support this station in any way you can. Ring that bell, subscribe, because that ensures you're at least going to continue to be able to watch these episodes. You'll beat the algorithm. But more importantly, I need your financial support. I hate to ask, but that's what I'm doing. I made a decision to pursue independent media because I believed it was the best possible route for me to take as a journalist and as a concerned citizen of Canada. So you can become a part of that. And at only $5, you can become a part of that on YouTube, on Substack, and with Buy Me a Coffee, a one-time donation. But I need your support. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. If you've already done that, if you're already supporting the station, thank you. But if you haven't, make that decision today